Zimbabwe as a whole is a very rich place. Irrespective of any place you can mention, or town or village, all those places are rich places in terms not only of resources, in terms of the humans who reside in those places. Whether they are educated or they are not educated in the British system, they are pretty much very educated in their local area economy. And this is why you find that all those places, you find people living, waking up in the morning, going to work, coming to sleep, going to the toilet, coming back, drinking water, peeing, and so forth. That shows us that these places have got very imaginative and intelligent people. Now, I want to go to Entumbane with you in November 1980 and February 1981, when there were clashes between Zipra and Zanla. None of this was tribal. It was one of those proxy flares that black people were not aware that if these two liberation forces fight, none of the black people would benefit. The Western countries would benefit. Now, there is a video I have seen in YouTube that mentions that there are flats in Entumbane, or there were flats at that time at Entumbane when these troubles happened. I'm not aware of any flats. I'm very familiar with Entumbane. My father had, one of my father's houses was in Entumbane. So I'm very familiar with Entumbane. And I'm familiar with Mpopoma, Luveve, and so those places. And I can pretty tell you that I'm familiar with the libraries of all those places. From Njube, Mpopoma, Luveve, and the surrounding places. Having said that, these clashes were not tribal clashes. They were just clashes of ignorance, clashes of testosterone, and clashes of misguidance. I would say that without fear, even if there's any reprisal, it's fine. I have to die one day. Now, none of these clashes happened during the day. They always started in the evening. And to me, they seem to have started, they built up during the week and started on Sunday evenings. And both of the clashes, the army that struck first was the Zebra. That was the one that marched to the Zanla camp that was down towards the railway line. They would have two loud contingencies marching. One that would go towards the Entumbane revenue offices, down towards the railways, and the other one would do a beeline from the Zipra camp that was opposite the Mpopoma Secondary School. Now, there were songs that were sung, which I personally witnessed. The one say, Zipura, Zipura ishumbaza, nula inyama, aiwaiwa unengu. Zipura, Zipura ishumbazi, zanula inyama, and so forth and so forth. Then they would change, say, Namtla, 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 Sudlan. So you know when zebras do that something is going down serious, and the Sanders were aware of this. Then in the evening, the intensity of the firing of shots started. None of the firing of shots were fired during the day. They were only fired during the day on the next day, not the first day. All the first day shots were fired in the evening. As for this notion that both of them fired at the Rhodesian contingent, which was supposed to be a peacekeeping contingent, where there was Makina and Dyke. I will just mention Dyke. The other ones, I'm not really familiar with them, with their history. I don't think there is any credence to that. there might have been some mischievous ones, people fighting there, but it was primarily Zipra attacking Zandla. And the excuse is given way that there are people who are saying that it's Nkala, who was at that time, I'm sure, the Minister of Defense, or Nkala was the third in the hierarchy of ZANU. There was, first there would have been President Robert Mugabe, then there would be Maurice Nyagumbo, then on the third, according to the hierarchy, would have been Enos Nkala. Oh, by the way, I must make note that it was in his home in Highfields where ZANU was formed. So he was high up there. He was supposed to be a uniting force between the tribes from Harare, having his presence in Harare with the Karanga people. He should have brought it to Bulawayo, to cement, to gel, to bring people together. But it seemed like he was not also aware of his duty. He was making inflammatory statements like saying that, you see, there's number one, Mugabe, number two is Nyagumbo. Mandebele Lizonya. When it comes to me, when I'm number three, if I take off power, those are some of the political statements that were not helping. But to say it was only Nkala would be a heap of ignorance. Let's go back to the president of ZAPU, Dr. Mkabu Nkomo. What he said was, Zipra is not a Salvation Army. It will not beat drums and march, and when the sun goes down, when church is over, they go home. They will keep what they fought for. They are a military army. They defend what they have won. Now, with that kind of statement, and at White City he said, asikeni sibathi fahla kancane abayazi impilo abafana. What he was referring to the Zanda forces, that they had not had the experiences of large encounters like the Wanki Wars, the Decadram encounters, which lasted for days on end, where the Zipras engaged with the Rhodesian government for days on end until both of them retreated without a clear winner. Okay, I have said that. But behind that all, there was also Peter Walls, who would not wait to praise the Zipra forces. Said, if we had an army like this, I'll take Zimbabwe one day. But what Peter Walls forgot was that he had an army that was slightly less armed than the Zipra forces at the time. I could say that it's safe to say, if you had seen the Zipra forces in action in Entumbane, and we see their radio, their cars and so forth, their guerrillas, you would completely, and you'd see them, the ones that were attacked from Essexville Road, at the support unit, Gwanda Road. You'd realize that, yes, they were truly armed with superior weapons. But Peter Walls also had a certain ignorance with a certain knowledge that even to him, he did not understand what was happening. Because you have to understand, Peter Walls wrote a letter to the then Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher, trying to do a coup to remove Mugabe from power. And he wanted to get a green light from Thatcher, not understanding that Thatcher was also perhaps working with someone in ZANU, who that someone received the letter and passed it to Mugabe. By the next meeting Mugabe was having with the military and his cabinet, Peter did not know the letter was there, but Mugabe had already known about the letter. So that gives us credence that in this Cold War, which Zipra and Zandla were playing ignorantly, MI6 and the CIA were already way ahead of all this, and the KGB, presumably. They were all ahead of this. We were fighting a liberation war and fighting among ourselves without knowing that we were fighting in a Cold War, in a European tribal war. our tribes or whatever it was we thought we were doing, were only facilitating this narrative and putting more power to our enemies. Now, I am not taking political sides at the moment. This is, to me, I'm trying to be as objective as possible, because for me, the only thing that was important was Zimbabwe and stability. For me, that was very important. And I had brothers both in the Zipra, both in the Zanla. And when my brothers on the Zipra side, who were really feeling powerful, wanted to say something like, yeah, these boys are too small, I would advise them to say that, yes, they are small, but you see how far they have come, even if they are small. So let's try to work together. This is exactly what would be the next mistake of the Mtwagazi project. It cannot succeed. Those people who have got this bitterness, they need to get rid of it now. Because I'm telling you, whether the government is badly governing or it's governing well, does not matter. Previous kingdoms of the Matebele have fallen. At the time where it come to fall, even this government, there is a time that is going to come for it to fall. The same way America is falling now. These things are not human creations. This is time. When time comes, even me, I have to stop speaking now. I want to thank you. The time for me to stop has come, and I have no choice but to stop. Thank you.